Next, we're going to look at changing the font and the font size on page 54. So we'll click here on A1, and you'll notice that when we click on the cell, it makes it active, and in the formula bar, you see that this text is the one that's selected, right? Now, even though it runs over B1, the text is only kept in A1, except it's just too big, so it spills over the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the font and make it a little bit bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the drop down over here, and we're going to go to Times New Roman. Now, in my case, it's probably way down there, so I'll just type it in, and it will come up Times New Roman. So I'll click on there. And now I can click on this drop down and change the font size to 20. So now it's nice and big. It's a title that I have up on the top. I could increase the font like this by clicking the A with the up button to make the font bigger, or click down to make it smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to click A3 over to J3, so that's all the headers. We're going to click on the font over here. We're going to go to Times New Roman, so I could scroll down to find it. You'll notice the font is changing in the background. There we go, Times New Roman. And we're going to make it size 14. Okay, so you'll notice that in some of the cases, like here, it's a little too big, and what we'll do is, I'm just going to select everything like this. I'm going to go to where it says Format, and click on where it says Auto Fit Column Width. And that should space everything out to be the right size. Now this one, a little too big, because of that first header, but you'll notice that everything else fits in nicely now, and I can actually read what it says, right? So it will space this out, it will space maybe a little smaller, so everything fits on the same page. There we go. Right, so now it all looks okay, and I could read everything, and nothing is cut off. Okay, so before we continue, let's just take a quick look at the little yellow box on page 55 where it says Inserting Online Pictures. So I'll make a new sheet. This is going to call Sheet 4, and I'll drag over to the side. And I'll just click on where it says Insert Online Pictures. And let's say we want to have a picture of an apple that's going to support what we're doing. Oh, here's a great picture. It's an apple. I'll just click on it. I could even click on multiple pictures at the same time and press Insert. Then it will take the picture and just drop it into my document, and then I could write around it. But keep in mind, it's very important that if you put the picture, it could cover the cells also potentially, which could be a problem, right? So you want to make sure that when you're using pictures, it doesn't block anything else. Okay, and I'll just delete this page. And let's go back to our module. Okay, so now we're going to go back to 56. So we're on page 56, and we're going to start off with number 1. We're going to press Control Home, and what that will do is bring us right back up to the top, no matter where we are on the page. And I'm going to press B, the big bold over here, and that's going to bold the text. Then I'm going to click on cell A3 over here, and I'm going to press the underline button. Then I'm going to press italic, this one over here, and then I'm going to press bold. So it bold, italic, and underline. Okay, we're going to unselect italic like this. Now, I have this selected, so right now I have the text bold and underlined. I'm going to click on Format Painter, this guy over here. So first, I'm going to go to a cell that I like the format of, which is this one right here. I'm going to press the little paintbrush. Now, I could apply it to somewhere else. So I'm going to put it from B3 all the way over to J3. So I'm just going to select these cells. When I let go, you'll notice it copies the format from here and applies them all the way across. The only problem is that now some of our headers are cut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that one more time. We're going to go to Format, Auto Fit Column Width. We'll just bring this back a little bit. And there we go. Now we can see everything and it all fits in properly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to A1 over to H1. And what we're going to do is we're going to press Merge and Center. Basically, instead of taking all of these individual cells, we're going to put them into one cell. So right now this cell has all our text, but these cells are blank. So we're going to turn this one cell into a big cell like this. Okay, so it's going to combine all the cells into one cell. Now you want to be careful when doing this, because if you, let's say we combined all these cells, we wouldn't be able to add the numbers on top and on bottom with this number sitting in the middle. But if it's for a header, usually it's okay, right? That makes sense. So here we merge and center, and now we have it big on top, centered nicely, right? Between all of our different fields. And of course, let's shrink this down a little bit like this. Maybe so we could see everything at the same time. I think actually I'll go back down to 100. There we go. Now everything fits on the page at the same time with the zoom down here at the bottom. And the last step, we're up to step 7, is you'll notice that all these headers over here aren't centered. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of them and hit the center button, just like that, right? So it centers everything at the top of the row. Maybe even we'll shrink this guy a little bit just because we could see the number a little better, even though the title goes off of the side, right? So that brings us up to 56, and let's just double save our work to be on the safe side. Now, it's important, look at that table 3-2 on page 57, where it's going to show you bold, italic, underline, merge and center, and the various alignment. There's another button also called wrap text, where if you have really long text, it will wrap it inside that cell, right? It will make it basically 2 lines. And I'll show you an example like this. So we have where it says TV commercials, I'll press wrap in text, and then this way it will make it 2 lines instead of just 1. Okay, so then let's go back and undo that. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to press save, and then we'll continue on. So in this one, we already talked about this, but we'll keep on going. In this one, what we're going to do is we're going to put the cursor right between A and B, and you'll notice it turns black like this. When you click and hold, you could change the width of the column. So I can make it really wide, I can make it really short, and as we did before several times, we're trying to fit everything to make sure it fits. We want the header to fit, and we want all of the numbers to fit as well. So for this one, we're going to stretch it out to 15.29, so I'll just bring it back a little bit. There we go, 112 pixels. Now we can see all the different text, right? Same thing they do here between B and C. Now I showed you a quick way to do this. We just grab everything and go to Format, Auto Fit Column Width. But in addition, we could also go and adjust each one independently, just like we did over here or over here, right? Now they say auto fit the rest of the columns. Format button, column width. There you go. So a little more about column width on page 58. And you'll notice on page 59, it gives an important note in the yellow box that we could also click between the rows, not just in the columns, but also in the rows, and we can make these larger or smaller. So if you want to stretch these out and make this a lot bigger, we're able to do that as well, right? So you have a lot of flexibility on how big you want to make this cell. Okay, so let's leave it here, and we'll pick it up in the next video, which is going to be about inserting and deleting rows and columns on page 60.